And good Thursday afternoon. My name is Ryan Belmore, owner and publisher of WhatsUpNewp, and Mr. Frank Prosnich joins me. How are you, Frank?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. And we are lucky because the superintendent of Newport Public Schools joins us once per month, as well as somebody from City Council, and that will be coming up soon here.
We'll make that happen shortly.
We'll make that happen. And the superintendent, Colleen Jermain, joins us, and I'm going to ask the biggest question of the day.
Okay.
School tomorrow or not?
No school. We're on school vacation week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, well
it's
done,
an easy
Brian.
one.
Really
it's
well
an easy
done.
One.
Oh, I finally almost had you. We were going to be able to say no school.
Yeah,
but she did say no school.
I did say no school.
I know Frank has a lot of questions. I was just going through the list of cancellations, closures, and delays, and that makes sense now. That I don't have kids, so I don't follow the school vacation course.
Right.
Where do you land on the spectrum of the superintendents and principals out there who have said, you know what, kids still deserve snow days. Kids, they can learn from home, but give them a snow day every now and then.
I have to say I'm right on the fence on that. On some days, yes, absolutely, let's do it. I do believe we are at a point now, and I have already shared this with my staff, leaders, and some community members that the next one, if we have to call it, will be a snow day. Just because the distance learning, they learn best when they're in front of their teachers. And we have had in this year's school calendar distance learning days as it is. But I do think going forward, we're going to have to, give them a good old-fashioned snow day so everyone can relax.
Well, Frank, there's the headline and there's the story.
That's perfect. The kids look forward to that.
Those are some of your favorite memories as children. Being able to stay home with mom and dad, play in the snow, get a ski day in. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. They were. And because my dad was in the school system, we knew when we heard the phone ring really early in the morning, we had no school. We'd all go, yay. He didn't even have to tell us because he would be getting notified. No school today. Call your teachers.
But I guess it wasn't automated then. You used to have to call each person.
Yeah, do the phone tree.
Yeah. I guess it's confusing for kids who are in the classroom all day long. And or whatever day, however long they're in the classroom, then suddenly comes a snow day and they're back out doing the video thing. It's got to be confusing for them and for the teachers.
It is. The good part is that the teachers are ready to help support and turn on a dime, but it is challenging too when you don't know. Sometimes if a storm's coming. We have given bring your technology home. It looks like it's going to be bad, so it might be a DL day. We have had the luxury of doing that. But as I've said, this last one where it was actually a rainstorm, it drove me crazy. Everyone started to go DL or no school. And I'm like, but and then you have to worry about, I have to look at the liability for the school system, the district. And if I'm the only school system that stays open and heaven forbid something bad happens, I can have a judge looking at me saying, well, superintendent, every other school system seemed to know not to bring the children in that day. Why did you bring them in? So, that's unfortunately one of the things we do have to think about. And if you think way back, I think what started all that was when Donnie Evans in Providence, that night, they called school early. They tried to get the kids out, and kids wound up sitting on buses for a long time. And that was a career buster. That was a job loss for him. He was soon leaving the district after that day. So it's it does make you think.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't hoping for more snow, but now I am because the kids will get a snow day.
And my teachers will not like it because they'll have to go an extra day.
Wow.
So it cuts both ways.
All right, Mr. Prosnich, this is your show.
Colleen, I wanted to start on a somewhat of a different note.
Okay.
This has been the last 24 hours internationally has been tumultuous. We've had the invasion of the Ukraine. And we have in this politically divided country, we have some, not many, thankfully, but some who try to politicize this rather than do what we used to do in this country and was rally around when we had these kind of crises.
Mhm.
I'm wondering, when Monday comes and the kids come back in school, how do you handle this? How do you, is this part of the lesson plan, part of the teaching, or do you ignore it?
I don't think you can ignore it. As a matter of fact, I know I can't because I have staff impacted by this. They work for the military. They've received orders as early as today, and it's you do your best, and I think you adjust accordingly, and based upon the different levels in which our students are at the elementary level. We have to be very mindful. We're a military community as well. And we as a staff have to be prepared and be flexible, because I know if I have close friends and people getting notified of job orders, et cetera, that their families are as well. So we have to be mindful of that, adjust, and our counselors need to be prepared. And as a staff, we need to be prepared. I think, if anything, when anything like this happens, a worldwide event, no matter what, it's going to hit close to home. So from the Newport School Department perspective, is we're aware of it, we're mindful, we carry on, do our jobs, but be respectful that we may have some children or young people or even some adults that are going to have to need some support in some of these areas. So
Do you teach
that's what we
about it
do.
in the classroom, or do you allow the information to funnel through various news channels?
Well, all the teachers have a specific curriculum, and I would think if at any level, possibly middle school and high school level, there might be discussion about it based upon
Oops, I think
and I would not be if that does come up in conversation or in teaching, but nothing specific. So we have a curriculum we have to follow.
so. I think it is very shortly that we have the end of the mandate, if you will, for masks within schools.
Yes, we
Where
do.
are we in Newport?
In Newport, we have a policy subcommittee meeting next Wednesday night at 5:30. That will be held at the Pell Elementary School. And and then the following evening, we have a special meeting of the school committee at 5 o'clock at Pell Elementary School. Both are in person. And most likely, what we're going to see is what's happening in most districts across the state. It's going to be optional, and there'll be some, most likely, some flexibility. If an emergency situation comes up, the superintendent will have discretion until the school committee can meet to discuss whether or not we should go back to masking. And also, of course, we will follow all RIDO guidelines and governor's executive orders that do come out just in case. So I think you're going to see, I'll call it an amendment, a revision to the present policy we have, and it will be very clear and simple. Right now, the school department will recommend following RIDO guidelines. Masks will be optional, and and I want to be clear, that's my thinking that most likely is what's going to happen based upon what I'm seeing across the state and in nearby communities. And that will go before the full school committee on Thursday night with whatever is decided. And then the following week, it'll be finalized.
So for this week coming, kids are going to be masked. But
They have to anyways. The executive order goes through Friday, March 4th. And it ends at 5 p.m. on March 4th.
okay, and so a week from Monday, presumably, if everything goes as you expect, it'll be optional. I know in some school systems they've gone a little further than optional, where they're encouraging kids to wear masks but not making it mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be what you would see the Newport position?
I don't know. I think that's going to be a discussion point. I'm not clear. I just am pretty strong about that. I believe it will be optional. I don't, it'll be encouraged, but not necessarily mandated in any way.
Yeah, and I think that's consistent with what I've heard elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Other changes that might come about because of as we appear to be moving out of COVID.
Well, a change that is not happening, I'll share with everyone, which I believe is pretty clear, is masking will still be required on busing, any kind of busing, transportation, etc. I have heard rumors that may change very soon as well, but most likely not within the first 2 weeks we're back in school. As in all vacation periods we've had, as I shared with the staff before we left, we may most likely see a slight uptick because every time we've come back from any vacation since COVID's been with us, we have seen some increase in cases. But as we're watching, locally and nationally, they are still declining, even though people are vacationing and in different locations. We're also hearing that they're relaxing the rules for European travel as well. So it does appear that not only statewide and nationally, it does appear globally that other countries are now reconsidering masking and their COVID protocols.
Interestingly, I've seen some stories that say that now that we're masking will in most places will no longer be required, that there will be an increase in the common cold because people are not masked. And I would presume there will be an increase in flu as well.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Absolutely. Yes. And so maybe some of us have learned wearing a mask now and then is not a bad thing for our health.
I have a follow-up to that, Frank.
Yep.
I'm putting Colleen on the spot here. It just made me think with the masks. Have you seen absences due to sickness in children decrease at all?
We have...
Like kids not getting the cold? Or...
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes to that. Yes. And that could be twofold. That could be because everyone is being so cautious and careful regarding any kind of symptoms and the masks, but I think also kids want to be in school. Yeah. So we are seeing fewer absences because of that. Yes. Good catch.
Yeah. I would guess that the need for socialization that was missing for so long has probably encouraged kids to be back in school with their friends.
Definitely. So, and we're happy for that.
Yeah. Well, it's good fact. It's huge for the kids. I think there are so many mental health issues now that are related to COVID and to isolation, not only on for kids, but for a lot of other people. I personally think that mental health was a piece that we forgot about in the beginning of all of this, and to put that into the treatment process, if you will. Mm-hmm. I wanted to switch a little bit to the building project, school building.
Oh, and hence you've seen the mess behind me. I'm packing. Yes, the building project. Their Pell is on schedule. We are still trying to get the bricks manufactured. That's been a little bit of a challenge for us, getting those bricks for the building. We're in the middle of that. It is on time. The completion of the addition, etc., we're hoping to have most of that done by end of June, beginning of July. The interior section in the, I'll call it Pell 1, we're adding a welcome center in there, and we're doing a few upgrades to the interior. And that work begins on Monday, June 20th. So we have a very tight schedule for the interior of the welcome center to have that ready by the end of August. So Pell is moving along. The Rogers building, we did receive some support and good news from the city council when we were getting the schematic design construction cost estimates. the cost estimates due to the COVID escalations and material delays, higher costs of steel, labor costs, we were about, in construction costs, we were over about 6 million, 6.6. I'm going to round it up to 7, but 6.6. And we, through discussions with our OPM, Downs Construction, and with RIDE at the School Building Authority, they made a recommendation to us to see if we could work with our city finance director and the city to see if we could sell the bonds and get higher bond premiums for the sale. And fortunately, and I can't say enough about City Finance Director Laura Citron, Joe Nicholson, Jim Nolan, Deputy Finance Director. They got together, and I thank the mayor and city council for supporting that. And the bonds are now out for sale, and now we'll get to see how much we do receive from the sale of the bonds, just because of the way the market is. Unfortunately, though, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed the bond sale happens before significant market drops. And then once we have that number, hopefully that'll cover our construction costs. So we're still within the budget and don't have to worry about, taxpayers as far as worrying about a new bond or anything like that. We do have a few items, though, that are not included in the build, and we've been working on alternative funding sources through grants, through meeting with private foundations to see if we can get additional funds to help make sure we can get the cosmetology entrepreneurship. It's now cosmetology entrepreneurship to make sure we include the building of business ownership skills. And then the other program, as we know, is automotive technology. And we're talking to different people to see if we can get some funding for that as well.
What was the initial projected cost of the construction for the high school?
For the high school, it's 98 million for the high school. That's the total package. Construction costs, I think we're 80.5 possibly. And so we went over on the construction costs, but.
I'm sorry, you said 80.5?
Yeah, I do have the exact number.
Well, that's okay. If we're close enough. And so that construction cost then has increased to approximately 87 we're talking about.
Right. It was, I think they said it was 86.6, but I am going into my computer now and seeing if I can find those exact numbers for you.
And so that, I'm not a great mathematician, but that seems to be a little bit less of an increase than what you experienced at Pell, right? We experienced 24% at Pell. This looks more quickly at about 17%.
That, yes.
Oh, maybe less than that.
Let me see.
Yeah, less than that. Maybe about 7 or 8%.
Okay. I'm still looking up. All right.
That's okay.
You're going to have to let me know.
That's right. But does that sound accurate? We're looking at about a 7 or 8% increase in construction costs?
I think it's more than that. That's why I'm pausing on commenting to you.
So then while you're looking that up, as we go through this conflict in the Ukraine, and we have the expectations that that's going to have an impact on energy costs, it's going to have an impact on other costs. Are you concerned that you'll find yet a steeper increase in costs for the project?
I think we're going to see significant costs in many areas. Already we're hearing about gas and food and what's happening in those areas just for day-to-day living. So I will not be surprised if there's additional cost increase in building construction and all of the above. So that that makes sense that would happen. Everything's timing, as they say. And no, the timing is not good for something. What's happening over in the Ukraine, the timing is never good for anything like
Right.
that. But the timing, as far as being involved in major projects, it's tough. It's tough on the budget. All right. The total construction for the project is $80.5 million. That's the construction GMP, and that's based on 165 square feet, valued at, they gave us RIDE approved $486 per square foot. So that came to 80.5. And then in our estimates that we received, and we received two estimates. One is by the Mayakota, that is our architectural design firm, and the other is by the construction firm. And there was a difference of about $637,000 in their estimates, but it came out to about 8.27. Very good, Frank. 8.27% over, and that's just construction costs.
They can go back and talk to my algebra teacher in high school. I got a C, I think, in algebra because I fooled around in class. There were deductions for behavior. So.
Yes, yes, yes. I am familiar with that. I am very familiar with the behavior thing and marking it up, marking it down. So yes.
So in terms of timing with the high school, are we behind or are we on time? Is it still projected as originally thought?
We're still on time. Where what's happening right here, the wing I'm in, and the offices that are here, we're packing up because in the next month or so, they're going to reconfigure some of these offices to relocate students that have classes in the auditorium. The auditorium is still on schedule to be knocked down in June, July period. So we're actually going out for bid, I think at the beginning of May. For our first bid will be for demolition and abatement. And then by the time the children come back in late August, early September, the auditorium at the very minimum will be demolished. That work will have already been underway. The reason I was telling you at the beginning before we started the show, it's getting cold out there, is just walking the grounds. And we were on the Wickham side and we're trying to figure out the bus loop and how we're going to redirect traffic as it comes on to the Wickham Avenue and how the children will enter the building, because they may not be able to go into the main doorway that we now have. So we're getting through those logistics. The groundbreaking is still set. So this area right here, we're cleared out by March 15th. I'm hoping to have my office all packed up by March 1st. And then we'll relocate within the district or within the building these offices. And then during the spring, we'll start the construction and remodeling within this area right here for the children that will be relocated over here starting in August, September. We are planning on having a Rogers, kind of Rogers celebration, come visit the school before we start knocking things down. That's going to be in May. I can't think of the date off, but we're gonna try to do that in May. And then on June 17th, which is a Friday at 11 o'clock, we're doing the groundbreaking for the new Rogers High School. And we'll be on our way. And then
completion in 2023?
September of 2024, the students will be entering the brand new building. During that summer, we will start the demolition of all the other buildings that are on the campus. So that demolition will take about a year to knock down the buildings, do the landscaping, and get all the grounds in order. So project will be wrapped up hopefully no later than the summer of 2025. And for the district to receive the ride reimbursements and the 52.5%, reimbursement on this entire project, we will have all our paperwork filed with the city and with the state by December of 2025.
Excellent. Talk to us a little bit about your budget process. Where are you in that process now?
Oh, well, I want to say thank you to Counselor Jamie Bova last night. She thanked us. We did send a draft budget to the council last night, and thank you to the council, a full support, 7-0 vote to receive and accept. And it's just the preliminary, it's not finalized. But if you recall, back in December, we started discussions early with the council because we want to work with them and, follow the practices they're following. We're trying to align our reporting structure, our when we do our, I'll just say, gathering of data and information. We're trying to align ourselves so that they have our information earlier than they have in the past. So the plan is the next 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, within our school buildings, and I'll be having a town hall with the staff, and I believe Director Gonzalez and I will have a town hall with city as well. We'll do a Zoom or something just to keep people informed about where we are in the budget process, what the differences are versus last year's budget, how we're spending the ESSER funding, as well as sharing out our sustainability plans for transitioning once ESSER is no longer ours, to continue to keep and have that allotment on a yearly basis. So we'll have that completed by mid-March. And then at our April meeting, we'll have it for the full committee to vote on budget for 23 and a draft of 24. We're doing a 2-year just as the city is. The other thing we're doing is once we have that done, we've already set a date. We will send it immediately to the council and then ask to meet with the council to go over it. So by the beginning of May, they should have all our information.
In the budget that you put before them last night, how big an increase?
It's not finished. As a matter of fact, we have a gap. We have a gap right now of about $500K. So we're looking into how we can make those adjustments.
Are you projecting? Obviously, you're projecting an increase.
We are seeking, I believe it's a 2%. And no higher than that. And that was part of our discussions we had with the city council back in December. In order to have predictable funding, we would like to set up a system with the city so that from year to year, this is the expectation, so we can plan accordingly and create a business model that's successful. To have a business model that we have now where funding is not predictable, and what happens is we do not know our budget until June. And for the public, people may not know our fiscal year ends June 30th. So that means July 1st, we get the new budget, whatever it is that's been decided. And then our staffing and future plans are impacted greatly by that. So if we can have more predictability, we can create a structure that will help us build the school system we want and the quality we want for all our students.
In many school systems, enrollment has been decreasing. What's the situation in Newport?
In Newport, we have gone down. I would say not that much, though. I think, and it varies. It's fluctuating. I'd say maybe around 100, 150, but then it changes. So I watch it every week, and we're around 2,000 right now. When I arrived, we were at 2,100, I think, or 2,150. We have been high as 2,300. And that goes, with populations and, different cycles throughout the years. Usually when there's a blizzard or something like that, we call them bubble classes, large classes, 10 years out or 6 years out, we have a big kindergarten class. So that's where we are. We have a high mobility rate, though, in Newport. That's what sometimes makes it tricky. So we do 2 counts. We do our October count, which was over 2,000. And now we'll be doing a March 15 count to see where we're at. And that count is really important because that is the number that goes into the quadratic formula for the school funding, for our local school funding. So that's why it's very important that we stay on top of that and capture that. The other thing that's important for us and for school districts is to make sure we capture as best as possible our students that qualify for free and reduced lunch, because that plays into the quadratic formula as well and is a certain percentage of how much more a district may receive based upon that information and that data. I do know there are, I'm on the ledge committee for the superintendent, and I do know that the funding formula is being reviewed, and we will keep on that and hopefully, see if we can make adjustments accordingly to what the districts need.
Interestingly, when I read through and I haven't read through the Jacobs report in a while, but the state funding on building projects minimal is 35%.
Correct.
But he made a recommendation in there, which I don't think a lot of people talked about, to reduce that to 30%. Has there been any discussion about that?
No, I haven't heard any. I have not heard any conversation about reducing it, the 35%. I have heard conversation about the 10% minimum affordable housing that all communities are supposed to do. And in Rhode Island, there aren't very many that have made that quota yet of
6.
6? Oh, yeah, 6. I was going to say, I can go over to my desk because I have the sheet.
No,
and
I can tell you, affordable housing is a big deal with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a huge issue when it comes to the homeless and when it comes to everything. Yeah. And I believe, if I'm correct, New Shoreham, Block Island is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Providence, Woonsocket, Central Falls, Newport.
Yeah.
And can't remember the 6th, but Burrowville, I think.
Burrowville?
I believe so. But those are the 6. No one else has reached that 10% threshold.
Right. So there is a wonder, especially for the districts that have met that. Then do we get a bonus or do we get anything? Or people aren't meeting their requirements, yet I'm in a district that only receives 35%, and I've got districts around me that don't have affordable housing yet either, and they're receiving a higher percentage of housing aid than Newport. So it doesn't always seem to make sense. Not that
it's an interesting discussion,
Mm-hmm.
and people who are very much into affordable housing will tell you that the main difference between communities that meet the threshold and communities that don't is all about political will. And, you have to want to do it.
Yep, it is. It's all about political will. But then it's like, well, some of us are following the rules and some of us are not.
Yeah, it's an incredible. Another issue, Kids Count identifies each year. I don't know if it's each year, but they've identified 1,500 kids in our schools across the state that they would characterize as homeless. Not a community shows up with a 0.
Correct. That's true.
It's a huge issue.
Yes.
Let me shift to just a couple of quick things. Give you an opportunity on the Newport area career and technical education program. Deadline is just a couple of days away to submit applications.
Yes, we're doing well. Yes, Director Young needs to speak to me about that because that impacts our staffing because we do have quite a few that have signed up. And we may have to do some expansion of programs. And I know some people go, oh no. But I go, oh yay. But we have to find ways of being able to support that with hiring with staff. And that has budget implications. But this is what the students need. This is what the students want. And we want to be able to support that. So that's all positive news. As far as our career in tech, our advertising, design, media by Dave Connell is taking off like wildfire. Spreading. I think it's all by spreading the word amongst teachers and kids and parents how well that program's doing. Culinary is always a big hit. Always in construction technology. Our NACTech P-Tech program. We've got more kids that will be crossing the stage with an associate's degree and their cyber certification. And the best part about that, minimal pay is $70K. So when kids come out with that, we will have a signing ceremony very soon with our local construction companies that have made job offers
That's great.
to some of our students. So we're excited about that too.
Yeah, that's terrific. One other thing I want to touch on a bigger scale, which is maybe you can explain a little bit about this Survey Works that's on the RIDE website.
Mm-hmm. Survey Works is very important to school districts because it enables community members, not just parents, not just teachers, not just students, but community members as well, to weigh in on their impressions of the school, what they believe is working, what is not working, what they'd like to see, etc. It's a great tool for getting input and seeing what your community is liking or not liking. So we do encourage that. We do advertise that. And we're trying to I know Pell is doing an amazing job as far as getting a lot of parent input, but the more input we have, the better.
And parents should go to the RIDE website.
Yes, we have. I don't have it in front of me. We have been sending out, I know the schools have on a regular basis. I have in my weekly updates, the websites to go to. But if you just Google Survey Works, if you do that, Rhode Island Survey Works. So I did want to let you know that if anyone is interested in what's going on at Rogers High School and the new Rogers High School, that we have a school building committee meeting, 5:30, a neighborhood meeting at the NACTech building on Monday night. So you'll be able to see the latest rendering. You'll be able to see the site proposals for where we're placing the building because that has changed. It's going to be closer to Wickham Avenue. And you'll be able to hear it right from the architects, what's going on with that. So we're very excited about that.
Ryan, you have anything? Or are you just sitting there looking pretty?
I thought someone was pinging him saying, get her off. She's supposed to be in a meeting.
You're muted, Ryan.
You're muted.
No, but I was jumping on so that way you could get off. I figure you're busy. I got my question in at the beginning.
Okay.
And now I know when school vacation week is.
Yeah,
Before
school vacation.
we do jump off, Colleen, anything you want to add that you think is important?
Well, I think for the community, especially with the new Rogers High School, it's it's going to be a building that's going to be here for possibly the next 60 to 100 years. I think it's very important for the community to find out and see as much as possible. We do have a meeting 5:30 on Monday evening at the NACTech building. It will be on the Rogers campus. And then now's the time we come back and we're, gearing up and getting ready we have RICAS testing going on, focus on our academics, the foundations of where we are. We have a new baseline based on COVID. So I'm really excited to see how our students do, because of the past couple of years, the learning loss we've seen. And I know the teachers have been working very hard on that. And I know our kids can excel at anything they put their minds to. So I'm looking forward to, getting ready, shoring ourselves up for that. School building projects will remain top of the list. We're getting ready for spring activities. We're in the playoffs for hockey and girls basketball and boys basketball and track. So it's just great to have the kids back at school and being part of their teams and just shining. It's just good. Newport's I'm very, very lucky to be in Newport and superintendent.
Well,
here.
we're lucky that you come on with us monthly and and help inform some of the residents of the town what's going on at the schools.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All
So,
right.
so Ryan, the next vacation is in April. It's okay. It's April 15th. Okay.
And I know
Good Friday, right
yesterday-
before Easter.
It has snowed in April, actually.
It has. It has.
Yesterday, I knew it was school vacation because for the first time in 2 years, Frank and I met in person.
Wow.
I haven't seen Frank in 2 years in person.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
we had lunch yesterday, and we
Oh, that's
noticed how busy the town was, and I said,
Yeah.
school vacation week.
Yep.
So I just forgot today.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice. It is.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right, Superintendent, thank you very much.
Take care. Have a
Colleen,
good
thank
week.
you.
All right.
Yep. Thank you.
That is Colleen Burns-Jermain, Superintendent of Newport Public Schools, and we thank her for joining us as she does every month. Right on schedule.
Indeed.
Right around the 15th, we have the superintendent on.
Yeah, whether or not there's a vacation day.
That's not right either. We have her on the third, on the last Wednesday of every
Last
month.
Wednesday of the month.
Yes, not the 15th.
Last Wednesday of the month, but this is a Thursday. So
That's it. Well, all right,
Yeah.
my friends. Well, thank you for organizing and your good questions. If anybody missed any portion of this interview, or if you want to go back and look at anything the superintendent has had to say in the past, you can go right on WhatsUpNewp.com and just search Superintendent or Colleen Burns-Jermain, and you'll see all of our videos and stories there. All right, Mr. Prosence, thank you.
thank you.
On behalf of Frank Prosence and all of us here at WhatsUpNewp, we want to thank Colleen Burns-Jermain for joining us today and monthly for her chat. Have a question for her? Send it our way, and we'll get it. We'll ask her the next time that we have her on. Thanks for watching.